It seems that the whole boxing world is talking about Shakur Stevenson lately, that killer Shakur. As we all know, Shakur Stevenson was supposed to fight William Zepeda, and there was really no issue about the fighters trying to fight each other, but the issue was that Turki Al-Sheikh gave Shakur a specific number, and then he actually went back on that number, and he said way back he was gonna get less money than the Padley fight, and he got $3 million for the Padley fight. And Padley is really an electrician, and he actually worked 2 days before the fight, so he did not have no training camp or anything like that. If that was $3 million, I'm just wondering how much they offer him for a Zepeda fight, and Zepeda is a much more dangerous fighter than Padley is. But then later we realized the issue, it wasn't really about the money. Well, it was about the money, but it was really where the fight was gonna be taking place at. So Eddie Hearn revealed that if the fight would have been taking place in Saudi Arabia, then yeah, Turki Al-Sheikh would have paid Shakur Stevenson the number they agreed on. So the issue is that it's gonna be taking place here in the States. So that's the reason that they could not afford to pay Shakur Stevenson the amount they offered him at first. So if they fight in Saudi Arabia, the money does not come from Turki Al-Sheikh, it comes from the prince and the state. So Shakur gets mad about all of this, and he lashes out on Turki Al-Sheikh. He says that Turki is not a man of his word, and Shakur stated that he does not bow down to anyone. But later on, Shakur Stevenson said that it was a misunderstanding, and he actually bowed down to Turki Al-Sheikh. He actually apologized in public because he did do that rant in public, so it was only fair that he actually apologized in public, because the whole boxing world knows what happened, and if he actually called him and apologized on a phone call, we will not know that, and we're all gonna say that Shakur Stevenson never apologized to Turki Al-Sheikh. And believe me, some of us will make a video about that shit. So it seemed that we were not gonna get the Shakur versus Zepeda fight, and now the whole boxing world wants to watch this fight, and the boxing world gave Turki Al-Sheikh a lot of pressure to make this fight happen. Not only did he make this fight happen, he gave Shakur Stevenson $6 million guaranteed to fight him. I wonder how much he gave Zepeda, because I'm pocket watching these fighters. Just playing, guys. But guess what? This fight is not gonna be a main event. It's gonna be on the undercard. That's not even a bad thing, the way Turki Al-Sheikh runs things, because all the cards that Turki Al-Sheikh had, they all had main events. Look at the card in New York. It's gonna have 3 of the 4 kings back to back. Now the main event on this fight is gonna be Edgar Berlanga versus Shiraz. Now both of these fighters are coming off of losses. Well, technically Edgar Berlanga knocked some guy out, some guy that was like coming out of prison. This guy was out of shape and no shape to box anyone. He wasn't even kind of chunky. This fool was fat. It looked like he just barely got out of the couch, stretched, put some boxing gloves, and he went in there to fight. Now, to me, that is a very embarrassing win, especially after losing to Canelo, and then your next fight is a tomato can. Because you did lose to Canelo, but at least you won 12 rounds. You did get knocked down, but you won 12 rounds. So I do not count that fight. How are these two fighters gonna be the main event, especially both of them coming off of losses and bad performances? Like the Berlanga versus that prison guy, I don't think anybody should have won that fight. They both lost to me. To me, Berlanga has 2 losses in a row, one to Canelo and one to a prison guy. Well, I really don't care who promotes this fight as long as we get this fight. Now the whole boxing world has been wanting to watch Zepeda versus Shakur Stevenson for a very long time, for years. And not just that, Shakur Stevenson and Zepeda are still undefeated with a lot of wins under their belts. Now stating that, how is Shiraz versus Berlanga gonna be the main event over Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda? Now Shakur Stevenson versus Tank Davis and Canelo Alvarez versus David Benavidez are the 2 biggest fights in boxing. Now Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda is the next best thing. So how is Edgar Berlanga and Shiraz are gonna be the main event over Shakur Stevenson and William Zepeda? It does not make any sense. Now the only thing that makes sense is that Turki Al-Sheikh is trying to teach Shakur Stevenson a lesson. That is the only thing that makes sense to me. because I would do the same thing that Turki Al Sheikh did. Put this guy on the undercard just to teach him a lesson. Yes, I'm gonna give you the fight, but I'm gonna put you on the undercard, especially if you try to do that kind of shit in public. And I believe that is very disrespectful, especially after Turki Al Sheikh actually gave Shakur Stevenson his biggest bag ever. And if I was Turki Al Sheikh, I would actually rob Shakur Stevenson in the scorecards just to teach him a lesson. So if I was Shakur, I would not let this fight go to the scorecards because you might get robbed. But if Shakur Stevenson comes in with brittle hands, I have Zepeda knocking out Shakur Stevenson or stopping him, but vice versa as well. If Shakur Stevenson comes in at 100%, I have him stopping Zepeda. And Zepeda puts in on that pressure, but Shakur Stevenson is a very great counterpuncher. But if he has brittle hands, I just do not see how he's gonna stop Zepeda. I just cannot wait for this fight. It's gonna be taking place in July in New York City. Now the main event is gonna suck, but the undercard is gonna be the one selling the fight. But guess what, guys? I ain't the biggest, I'm the baddest. And if you wanna hop on your boy, throw a dollar at the super thanks. I gotta roll. Peace.
I shook up the world! I shook up the world! I shook up the world!